The Battle of Blenheim, fought on August 13, 1704, was a pivotal engagement during the War of Spanish Succession, a conflict that embroiled much of Europe in a struggle for dominance and influence. This battle, which unfolded in the fields near the village of Blenheim in Bavaria, present-day Germany, was a decisive victory for the Allied forces led by John Churchill, the Duke of Marlborough, and Prince Eugene of Savoy. It was a turning point in the war that profoundly altered the balance of power in Europe and had lasting implications for the future of the continent. The War of Spanish Succession erupted in 1701 after the death of the childless Charles II of Spain. His will-designated Philip of Anjou, the grandson of King Louis XIV of France, as his successor. This move alarmed many European powers, particularly England, the Dutch Republic, and the Holy Roman Empire, who feared the union of the French and Spanish crowns under a single ruler would threaten the balance of power and upset the geopolitical stability of Europe. The conflict quickly escalated into a full-scale war involving a coalition of nations opposed to the expansionist ambitions of France and Spain. The stage for the Battle of Blenheim was set as the Allied forces, commanded by Marlborough and Eugene, faced off against the French and Bavarian armies, commanded by the French Marshal Jean-Baptiste de Villars and the Elector of Bavaria, Maximilian II Emmanuel. The Allied forces, numbering around 52,000, were considerably outnumbered by their adversaries, who fielded approximately 56,000 troops. Despite the numerical disadvantage, the Allies were strategically positioned and well prepared for the engagement. Marlborough and Eugene's strategic brilliance was evident in their meticulous planning and execution of the battle. They understood the importance of disrupting the French and Bavarian supply lines and cutting off their reinforcements. The terrain around Blenheim, characterized by dense woods and marshy ground, presented a challenging battlefield, but Marlborough and Eugene skillfully maneuvered their troops to exploit weaknesses in the enemy's positions. The battle commenced with intense fighting, as the Allied forces launched a series of coordinated attacks on the French and Bavarian lines. The Allies utilized their superior artillery and cavalry effectively, making significant gains despite the fierce resistance from their opponents. The engagement was marked by a series of brutal confrontations, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The battle raged for hours, with shifting tides of fortune as the Allies sought to break through the enemy's defenses. One of the key moments in the battle was the Allied assault on the French left flank. Marlborough and Eugene's troops, displaying remarkable bravery and discipline, pressed their advantage and succeeded in outflanking the French and Bavarian forces. This maneuver forced the enemy to retreat, creating a critical breakthrough in the battle. The Allies' ability to adapt to changing circumstances and exploit vulnerabilities in the enemy's formations played a crucial role in their eventual success. The Battle of Blenheim was not only a tactical triumph for the Allies, but also a significant strategic victory. The defeat of the French and Bavarian forces severely undermined their position in the war and shifted the momentum in favor of the Allies. The battle had profound implications for the broader conflict, as it bolstered the morale of the Allied forces and weakened the resolve of their enemies. The victory at Blenheim was celebrated across Europe and marked a turning point in the War of Spanish Succession. In the aftermath of the battle, the Allies pursued their advantage and continued to press the campaign against the French and their allies. The defeat at Blenheim contributed to a series of setbacks for the French, ultimately leading to the signing of the Treaty of Utrecht in 1713, which brought an end to the war and established a new balance of power in Europe. The treaty confirmed Philip V as the King of Spain, but imposed restrictions to prevent the unification of the French and Spanish crowns. It also resulted in territorial changes that redistributed influence among the European powers. The Battle of Blenheim stands as a testament to the strategic acumen and leadership of John Churchill, the Duke of Marlborough, and Prince Eugene of Savoy. Their victory not only secured a crucial win in the War of Spanish Succession, but also solidified their reputations as two of the most formidable military commanders of their time. The battle's impact extended beyond the immediate military context, shaping the geopolitical landscape of Europe and influencing the course of future conflicts. The legacy of the Battle of Blenheim endures in historical memory as a symbol of military ingenuity and strategic prowess. It remains a subject of study for historians and military enthusiasts alike, illustrating the complexities of early 18th century warfare and the significance of leadership and strategy in shaping the outcomes of great battles. The victory at Blenheim was a defining moment in the War of Spanish Succession, demonstrating the critical role of decisive engagements in determining the fate of nations and the course of history.